All right, we're back at it again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ringside Society presents 15 minutes of fandom. In the first corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about Mary Jane, money, or Popeye spinach. He is the trifle dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He is Rob Bass, and you are not. And in the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go, catching if you can. Said his name in Guyana, now they love him in Japan. No cap, the worldwide starboy, Remy Blue. And we have a special guest tonight. Well, not what am I saying tonight? Today, hailing from North Carolina, he's also a musician and he loves him some good old fashioned hip hop. Welcome to the show, BarackOHoliday. How you doing today,
Yeah,
sir?
appreciate. Thank y'all for having me. It's
Yeah,
love.
yeah. Hey, thank you for shouting us out and thank you for agreeing to be on our show, man. You know,
No doubt.
we always rock with people that rock with us, you know. So
Already.
that's how we roll.
Yeah, you already know, man. I had to take time out of
Yeah,
my busy schedule to do it, so I felt like what perfect time now. So I'm here. My first time on the show. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah,
yeah, we
thank you for coming
appreciate it,
on, man.
man. So yeah. So what what was it that made you become a fan of professional wrestling? What was the show or the match or the event that you saw that made you become a fan?
Oh man, really? I started becoming a fan maybe around 96, 97. Um, the funny stuff was pretty much I would have to say my man Nick Foley, man. Um, I don't know
Oh,
why, but a lot of people would, the average person would say Rock or maybe Undertaker or whoever was around at that time. But I would have to say Nick Foley, man, aka Cactus Jack. And then my dad was around at that time, so we got to experience the fan moment together. But cause
right.
I was around when it was WWF, and it wasn't even it wasn't watered down like it is right now. But I don't mean
Yeah.
to say that in bad terms, but that's how I'm looking at it right now at this very second. So, but no disrespect to WWE, and I'm still a fan of the show, but I known it when it was WWF, when wrestling was at its peak and everybody was coming in, and USA Network was the network at the time that had those big old budgets. You feel me?
That's right.
Everybody wanted to sign over there, and everybody wanted to be under Vince McMahon. It wasn't like it was now when you got like AEW, Impact, and all these different companies because they came later. So, but like I said, USA Network around that time was the big thing. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. Vince McMahon had the budgets for everybody to come over. So when I started
Mm,
watching it, I was a kid in my diapers, still, doing, the normal kid stuff that you wouldn't normally see. It was big old floor model TV, cable box, PlayStation on the floor, you know, VCR when it was, when before it was DVDs, you had the H, the Betamax.
VHS,
Yeah, the
Betamax.
VHS.
Oh man.
I come
shoes.
from that era. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I come from that era. With the
Whew.
big old floor model TV. So with the PlayStation on the floor, but yeah, man. I would have to say, man, the how I really became a fan, it was just Cactus Jack and just the fan of the business. Cause I got a chance to see the behind the scenes before it actually came out. See, a lot
Okay.
of people don't know that. So I ain't just
Yeah.
talking like this for no reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I became a fan, man, and I've been enjoying it ever since.
Yeah. It's I've been a fan for 30 years. I started watching in 1990.
Right.
Um, I
That's
saw
the
I,
year I
I
was
saw
born.
yeah. I started watching WWE when it was back when it was WWF, of course, when it was back in 1990. And then afterwards we had that same year I actually saw my first WCW match.
Right.
But at that time
Steve
WCW
Bing.
they didn't really have as big a as exposure as WWE. They didn't have as big a television deal as WWE. And
Right.
then like 2 years later, I started really getting into it.
Hmm.
And one of the first guys that I actually recognized was, as you mentioned, Cactus Jack.
Right.
And I knew him as Cactus Jack in WCW
Right.
before he went over to becoming Mankind with the brown gear and
Yeah.
Hannibal like mask and whatnot. I knew him before that when he was Cactus Jack.
Right.
So yeah, and yeah, that was he. He definitely was. He definitely is a legend, and I'm pretty sure he inspired a lot of people. And the funny thing about dude is that he's not even no like he's like he looks like a regular guy. Like he looks like
Yeah.
just a regular like
Yeah.
person, but he has so much charisma coming from him.
Yeah.
You can't help but cheer for him. I remember
Yeah.
Dude Love came out,
Right.
and you got Dude Love coming out trying to be all hip, and
Right.
he's like, "Oh, Steve-O, it seems like you can use a
Yeah.
tag team
Yeah.
partner." Steve Austin's like, "What the
Right.
hell?"
Right. It was one of those things, man, and that's why I was like, because a lot of people still ask me to this day, like, man, when you were younger, man, why did you like Cactus? I was like, there's something special about him. He had the, like you said, the mankind that whole persona, and then everything that he contribute to the company. I just thought it was dope.
Yeah, I actually I mean I always tell people like for example, when I was at SummerSlam almost 3 years ago in Brooklyn, there was a guy that was booing Brian and he was like, "Oh, sorry." I'm like, "What are you sorry for? If he's not your favorite, if you don't like him, you don't like him."
Right.
I mean, that's what makes wrestling great. Like back in the day, I thought back in the day, not everybody was a Hulk Hogan fan. I wasn't a Hulk Hogan fan. And this was
Right.
before the whole racist fiasco thing that he did.
Right.
I
Right.
I was an Ultimate Warrior fan. I'm sorry, I was 7. I didn't know any better. You
Right.
know, I was a fan of the Rockers and I was a fan of
Yeah, you
Tito
was younger
Santana.
than me.
Yeah.
Cause I was
So
like 5.
yeah. So I was like, not everybody's gonna like the popular guys. Some people probably back in the day probably like Virgil.
Right.
You know, some people probably came to see Coco Beware, who I think would make a great general manager. You know, some people came for Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect. I mean, everybody has their own, person that they're entitled to cheer for. And that's what
Right.
makes wrestling great.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Um, I was gonna say was a lot. It's a lot of that going on in today's time with wrestling, and I think that has to do with the culture changing. And when the culture changes, the people change with it. So it's kind of like, oh, it's just like you saying. People are entitled to their opinion, so you're entitled to who you like. So you like this person, the other person might not like this person. You got one person that might like this person. It's like, oh, you get bashed for liking this actual person. And a lot of that has to do with the climate of the way wrestling is today. So with the climate changing, people some people learn to adapt with it, some people don't. Some people get stuck in their ways, and then I'm like, then when you're looking at wrestling and you look at social media plays a part because it gives everybody a voice that we didn't have in the 90s. Mind you, we were coming up, so we didn't. It wasn't no social media. It wasn't no big face computers and everything else. So it was more like, uh, say your opinion. You put your opinion out there and hope people catch the vibe of your opinion. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost in the sauce when it comes to this, because wrestling is such a big market and a big company for it. So it's like you kind of get lost, and people have voiced their opinion so much. So it's like, who do you listen to? You know. So it's one of those things where it's like, am I sure I'm gonna say this, or you know, you start worrying, and it messes with you mentally because people are so invested into this sport. So it's like, I'm scared if I say this thing, somebody else gonna come out of the woodworks and say what thing. You come out of here with this one, somebody attack you from the other end on this end. And it's the same way with, the video game concept. But that's a whole nother story for another time. But what I'm trying to say, my biggest point is wrestling is such a big sport, and everybody's gonna have an opinion whether you like it or whether you don't like it. And like I said, it's a big market. And like I said, around that time, WWF is the sport of what you see today, the AEWs, the Impacts, the New Japans, all that type stuff. So you never know what you're gonna get when it comes to the sport that we all know today.
Yeah, you're right about that. And in all honesty, I think now is like one of the best times to be a pro wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you started watching during the Monday Night Wars era when you had
Right,
Nitro
when it was
and,
just
and
WCW and those
you had
guys.
Nitro, you had Nitro and Raw. You had WCW Saturday night and
Right.
WWE on Saturday morning and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Rob and I, we came from the era where you got it on Saturday and Sunday. This was
Right.
like Rob, when did you start watching? When did you start watching?
It was the 80s, Hogan Rock and wrestling time.
Right. I started
Yeah.
watching in the 90s. So those two times weren't that different because you got wrestling on Saturday, wrestling on Sunday. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
If you got cable and you got money like that, you watch the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
You got it like
That's
that, you heard about it from your friends or whatever stills that they
yeah.
show
Yeah.
on the next superstars or whatever on Sunday. But
Yes.
that was all you got, really. And a lot of times on those shows, it was probably one of the big guys
Right.
squashing some preliminary guy. You never really got like
Right.
Macho Man versus Ultimate Warrior on Saturday. You'd be lucky if you get some matchups, but it was mostly
Yeah.
squash matches.
Yeah, that
And
makes
now,
sense.
I mean, you have like Raw, you have SmackDown, you have NXT, you have 205,
Mm-hmm.
and you got NXT UK.
Yeah.
But then also you got AEW, you got
Yeah.
Dynamite, you got Dark Elevation, you got
Yeah.
NWA Power coming
That's
back.
and that's why I was talking about earlier with the culture stuff. When you adapt with
Mm.
the culture changes. So when and then a lot of it has to do with you got kids involved now, because you remember back in the 90s, kids wasn't even the factor in watching wrestling. Oh, we gotta shoot
Right.
our eyes. So it's like no, and then now it's like the kids are very invested in it. Like, Mama, can you take us to a wrestling show? So it's one of those things, man. Like, the kids are invested in it now. It's no longer the show that we know it as when we were coming up, because the kids are so invested in it, and they made it kid friendly. So it's one of those things, man.
Yeah. And like I said, like that's why I like AEW because AEW is a mixture of like everything.
Yeah,
And that's why I always say like wrestling now has something for everybody. They
yeah.
have
It's
something
something
for
for
everybody.
everybody.
I just saw somebody. Apparently, there's something called Black Wrestlers Matter too. That's coming out Sometime later on this year,
Yeah.
ECW is doing something called For the Culture.
Yeah.
You have so many avenues
Yeah.
for everybody, and it's crazy. The only thing I don't like is when people like whine and complain about this and
Yeah.
that. I'm like,
That's
if
why
you
I was
don't like
getting
it,
that earlier.
you don't like it, don't watch it. I mean, don't.
Right.
I always tell people that if you don't like WWE, don't watch it. If you don't like AEW, don't watch it. If you don't like
Right.
Impact or Ring of Honor or New Japan, don't watch it. If you don't like wrestling at all, guess what? Don't watch it. Go watch
Don't
MMA
watch
or
it.
boxing or something.
Right. Or
You
just
know?
stay away from the culture, period.
Yeah. But I never got that sense. Like people come, you still watch it, but you complain. I'm like, no, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
But so you're in North Carolina, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm in NC myself.
Born and raised.
What?
I was born and raised.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm actually in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
I heard of Jacksonville. I'm 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 30 minutes away from you.
I've been to like Charlotte. Charlotte's awesome. Been to Raleigh. Raleigh's awesome. I gotta
Right.
ask you though,
What's up?
how is the wrestling scene here? Like, I haven't been to a show, but I'm busy working.
Um, I've been to a few shows out in the North Carolina scenery. It's not like it's the typical. It's the typical. You know how the shows that you watch on TV?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like that, but in a bigger. Before COVID happened, the shows were kind of like how you would watch it on TV. Packed
Okay.
out shows, sold out shows every night. But a lot of the shows out here, they'll be more like independent shows, like let me see, I would say like New Japan, for instance. The shows that nobody never really heard of. It's
Mhm.
like the shows that you wouldn't see on TV, like
Okay.
like the New Japans or the like what's another one? And I hate to use this one, but I'm gonna use it anyway. GFW. I'm gonna use that for instance. And I hate the I hate the because I've seen so much that happened with that. So it's kind of like that in a sense, but that's how the shows were. They were kind of like independents, but like less people. But it still has the same capacity as when you would watch it on TV.
Right. Right. You mean Global Force Wrestling, right? Like Jeff Jarrett's
Yeah,
promotion.
yeah. Before it burnt to the ground. Yep.
That man had a good concept, but it's just too bad he couldn't get it out. He couldn't. To me, I think like AEW was what GFW was supposed to be,
It was B.
but
Yeah.
it just never happened. And
Right.
I guess with Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, it was a matter of like the right place, right time, and knowing the right people to get behind it. Because I heard what GFW was trying to do, and it sounded good. It sounded
Yeah, it was really good. It was just the writers that was in the back room. It was like, they tried it, but it was like, we're not rocking with this.
yeah, that was
Yeah, I kind of looked at it like, how you got like spoiled milk after it sits out for a while.
yeah.
Turns the cream cheese.
Yeah, man. Like that's how it was, man. And then after a certain amount of months, you're like, you sure you want to drink that milk? So
I'll tell you one thing though, Jeff Jarrett may not. People may say Jeff Jarrett never drew a dime, but I'll
yeah,
say this:
it made
they
some
may
money.
be correct, but he could definitely out promote somebody like
Anybody,
he could definitely do a better job with a promotion than Hulk Hogan.
bro.
Hulk Hogan could never, and he tried it before, and it didn't work out for
Yeah,
Hogan. Tried it before, it didn't work out.
yeah, with the
But
TNA situation. Yeah,
oh yeah, that too. But even before that, one called it was a short-lived production. It was a short-lived promotion called, I think it was called XWF,
Yeah,
and you had
I remember.
XWF.
Yeah, I remember a little bit.
Steiner
Anyway.
and
Didn't they have Yokozuna on that show?
I don't even no. Yokozuna died by then.
Oh, okay.
It was before that.
Okay.
I mean, after that.
Yeah, this was like 2001, 2002.
Okay.
About
All right, I'm
02.
thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of a different one.
It was probably like '02.
And I was like, when I look at that, I look at what Jeff Jarrett did with TNA from like 2002 to like before Hulk Hogan came in.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Jarrett, Hogan can't mess with Jeff Jarrett
Mm-mm.
in the promotion area at all. He can't. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
You know, Jeff Jarrett could probably give Cody a run for his money if Jeff Jarrett was running TNA.
Yeah.
And they never had. I always say the darkest years of Impact
Mm-hmm.
was when Hulk Hogan came aboard.
Yeah.
If those years didn't happen,
Yeah.
it would have been some. The TNA back then with the AEW now, it would have been
Yeah.
something to
It
see.
would have been something to see. Yeah. But I'm glad we also, and I always big, and I hate to big up Hulk Hogan for this, but I'm glad I got to see that because Dixie Carter didn't have the knowledge of running a company. So
Ain't
who
that the
would you
truth?
get? Who would you get in the day-to-day operations to run TNA at that time? Because she's a lady. She doesn't know anything about wrestling. She just has the origins of wrestling, but when it comes to the business, mm-mm, mm-mm. So it's
Yeah,
one of those things where it's like, you shoot yourself in the foot, man.
yeah.
And it's one of those things, man. So, you know, but I gotta give Jeff Jarrett his just due. When it comes to this wrestling, I gotta give him his run, man. From himself as a person up until the businessman. Would I stand next to him as a businessman? Probably not. But
Mhm.
when it comes to this promoting and when it comes to knowing what a wrestling brand should be, I give him the utmost respect when it comes to that.
Yeah. The only thing about Hulk Hogan is he was good for the rock and wrestling era. He helped bring wrestling to what it was. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he got lucky because I could tell you two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, if Billy Graham did not take Hulk Hogan under his wing,
Right.
he would have been a totally different person. Because if you look, I don't know if you know who Billy Graham is, but he
Yeah.
was like back in like the 70s and 80s,
Right.
and he had a way. The look Hogan had was the
Mm-hmm.
look Billy Graham had.
Mm.
And Billy Graham took Hulk Hogan when he was young and took him under his wing and showed him a thing or two.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing was that whole Real American song.
Mm-hmm.
That was originally the U.S. Express Zone. That was Barry Windham and Mike
Yeah.
Rotunda's
Yeah.
song.
Right. Right.
They left to go to AWA. If they didn't leave to go to AWA and stayed there, Hulk Hogan would have been stuck with that first song he had, which wasn't bad,
Mm-hmm.
but it wouldn't have got the crowd hyped up
Mm-hmm.
as much as Real American.
Right.
And it's actually on YouTube. It's not a bad song, but it just doesn't have that fire
Yeah.
Real American had.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just got one more question before I turn it over to Rob. Have you met any wrestlers like in North Carolina or WWE or?
Um, I met Bray Wyatt at a SmackDown show 2 years ago. Great guy. Great guy. Charisma. Then I met my man Dean Ambrose out here as well. He came out here and we did they did a SmackDown show out 30 minutes away. ECU. It's called East Carolina University. So they did a show out here, and I got a chance to meet those guys backstage. We chopped it up. They gave me some game, and I actually just had a chance to just ask them questions and just pick their brains. It would have been dope to meet AJ Styles, but he got sick, so I was kind of disappointed because that was really like my guy. So, but the people that I did get a chance to meet while they were here, I'm kind of glad I got a chance to meet them. But
Speaking of AJ Styles,
AJ Styles was he was I think he missed his plane or something. I think he missed his plane or something. But
Seen
yeah,
him
he was
wrestle.
supposed to be at the show. Say that
I'm
again.
sorry. I was gonna say I saw him wrestle. I believe twice. One time may have been at SummerSlam. I
Yeah,
can't remember that card, but I know I definitely saw him wrestle once. I think 6, 7 years ago. It was against Rob Van Dam,
yeah,
and we actually had the opportunity to interview one of his first tag team partners, a guy named Air Paris.
yeah,
We actually had the opportunity to interview him on our show. I think almost a year ago,
yeah,
and he had nothing but great things to say about AJ Styles.
yeah. The funny thing was with that situation, Rob and RVD was supposed to come to the show. They just never could get the paperwork right for the show to happen. But the show still ended up going on. New Day came through, shook a couple kids' hands, and the it wasn't a big show like you would see it on TV, but it packed quite a few people, and I
Yeah,
thought
man.
it was a very good show.
Yeah,
But the
WWE
people that I
shows.
did meet, I can honestly say I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. I still have some of those photos on Instagram. It's so far down my page, but you know what I'm saying. But I'm kind of glad I got a chance to meet those guys, and they're very dope people, and they are what you see today as far as wrestling is concerned.
Yeah, I've gotten to meet. I've been very lucky to meet a couple of them myself. And it's funny because a lot of them are like the ones I met. They're pretty down to earth. I remember I met I was at a Lillian Garcia release party
Yeah.
for one of her albums. This was like
Mhm.
WrestleMania week in Miami. This was like back in
Right.
2012,
Yeah.
and I was saying I hope I get to meet Ezekiel Jackson because Ezekiel Jackson is from the same country I'm from, Guyana. And
Mhm.
one of my homeboys, Salvador, he was like, "Yo, Ezekiel Jackson's outside." And I went and I was like, I saw him walking up. Dude is huge. I was like,
Yeah, it was big.
hey Ezekiel, I heard you I
Yeah.
heard you're from Guyana. He's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, he's like, hey, you from Guyana too, man? I'm like, yeah, I'm from Guyana, man, Georgetown. He's like, oh, I'm from Linden. And we took a picture together. And to this day,
Mm-hmm.
this man, I have him on Facebook. And he actually like every now and then comments on a picture or two of
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I post.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, he's a real chill dude, man. Huge, but real chill dude, man.
I believe it.
Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Rob Cut. I know he has some questions he probably wants to ask you too. So Rob, go ahead, man.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, man? How's everything
What's,
going your way?
what's going on, man? Happy to be here.
Sweet.
Just another day in Carolina, man.
That's right, man. Yo, that's crazy, man. Because earlier today I was listening to some PD Pablo, man. It
Yeah,
wasn't
that's the homie. You know, he from the city.
yeah, it wasn't the throw your take your shirt off.
Yeah,
It wasn't that. I
yeah,
was listening to Freak Elite. That was the one
yeah.
I was listening to
Oh
earlier today,
yeah,
man. It came
man.
on. Oh yeah, I love
Yeah,
PD Pablo, man. That's my
yeah.
boy.
The mainstream hits, man. But I got a chance to hear the early PD Pablo.
Mm.
So a lot. That's something that I don't really talk about, but yeah, PD Pablo, that's the homie though.
That's right. That's right. Now you're talking about being a fan in the '90s. Like we ain't had no computers and none of that stuff, man. I was like, yeah, it
Yeah,
ain't like how it is today, man. Because I literally when I
yeah,
grew up,
man.
we had my mom and dad didn't have a computer, man. I graduated high school in
Right,
2000.
right.
We didn't have any computer, man. And they didn't get one till after I moved out. It was like 2000, whatever. And yeah, man, because my dad, he was afraid of computers, man. He's one of them people like, oh man, you're hacking all that stuff now. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, I remember going to school being banned from computer class because I would go on there and look at wrestling rumors and stuff like, oh man,
Yeah.
because that's where I found out Kurt Angle was coming and all that from school. And they'd be
Yes.
like, because I remember one
Yeah.
time I did something, Mr. Perfect music started playing real loud from the
Ooh.
speakers, man. Everybody just turned,
Ooh.
looked at me and were like, all right, get off. I'm like, oh, come
They
on,
kick you.
man.
They banned you out the library.
Yeah, man. It's like, oh, come on, son. You know what I mean? Like my Ed Lover voice. Come on, son. Like,
No,
man.
it's out of here, Jack.
That's right, man.
Yeah,
But yeah,
man.
But yeah, man, yeah, like you were saying, man, I think it's like a lot of these kids, man, they didn't grow up like how we did, like, with two
Yeah.
promotions, like a little
Yeah.
battling all each other, man. They don't know how to act, with the AEW, WWE thing. They're just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like you can like both, man. So, you're allowed to. Shit.
Yeah, you're allowed to. And
Plus,
yeah,
plus nowadays you can just, was it DVR or whatever, man? You can watch stuff,
DVR. They got
yeah, Hulu, playback,
yeah,
yeah.
man. Yeah, man. There's so much streaming going on. I think the streaming culture impacted wrestling too,
Mm-hmm.
and as well as the kids. Cause like I said, back in when we was watching it, the kids had to close their eyes. Like, oh mama, what is that? So it was one of those things, man. So, I mean, I love it, man. I mean, some of it I don't agree with it because, but you can never tell a parent how to tell their child not to watch wrestling. But like I said, man, I love it. I'm 31 years old. I still love it. Like I said earlier before the show started, I don't shy away from the questions. I'm still, even though I'm in other parts of the industry, I still find myself watching it in my enjoyment. I still like to see people get their ass whooped. I still enjoy it, man. So I think it's in a good space, man. It's something
That's
for
right.
everybody. It's something for everybody to watch, man. So, and I'm glad streaming played a part of that because we need that in this type of time, and we need that in this culture. So I don't stay stuck in the 90s. I just adapt with the times.
That's right. Yeah, because I remember if I missed wrestling or whatever, man, it was gone forever. I missed it forever.
You
Back then,
missed it
you
forever.
missed it once, yeah, you missed it forever. Now, if I miss
Yes, sir.
wrestling, I just go back next
Go
day,
back and
like, yep,
watch.
boop,
Yeah,
yep,
man.
yeah, there we go, yeah.
You
Back
go
then, it was
back
like, nope,
right.
you gone forever. You got to rely on your friends, messing with you, telling you lies, like, yo,
You
Undertaker
better
came
hope they
out, won the belt. You
recorded
be
it.
like, he
Right.
won the belt, and then you come back next week, you be like, what you talking? Oh, come on, man, yeah.
Then and like I said, I come from the era with the VHSs, so you better be hoping somebody got it on record. So, you know what I'm saying? So, it's one of those things, man. So, but yeah, man, it's like with all the streaming websites now, you don't really have that problem. You can always go back and watch it.
That's right. Now you were talking about RVD and stuff earlier, man. I didn't know if you heard that he's going to be in the Hall of Fame or whatever. I had like pulled up right here.
Yeah, I seen
I don't know him and what's it? Great Khali.
Great Khali, Batista.
Kane.
Batista was supposed to show, but
yeah, I see that right there.
Due to unfortunate circumstances, he couldn't show. Yeah, I seen it. I think it's a great time for the Hall of Fame, man. It's a lot of people. I still feel like when it comes to the Hall of Fame, it's a touchy subject because there's so many other people that could have been way further than what they were. But the Hall of Fame, if you're a fan of these people, hey, why not put them in there? I don't see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's some people that I think that shouldn't be there because I felt like it weren't their time yet. But you got people that need to be there, but kind of got snubbed a little bit or kind of got robbed a little bit. So it makes sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I remember back in the day watching ECW. I remember taking my brother there. He was 10 years old, man. We saw RVD fight Jerry Lynn there. And I remember it was like intermission or whatever. We go out there because my brother's like, yo, let's go out back and all. Let's go check see if we see some wrestlers and stuff. I was like, all right, yeah, let's go. So we go out. We were walking out back. And out in the back, by like, I guess the trailers, all that good stuff. We were far away. We could see Bill Alfonso, RVD, and all that. They're in a circle, big smoke cloud, around them and all right. My brother, he's 10 years old, man. He looks at me, he's like, yo, they need to go inside because it smells like there's a skunk out here. I was like, oh, that's right. That's right. I didn't want to tell him, I was 16, 17 at the time. I didn't want to tell him at that point. You're like, yeah, no, it ain't that. But all right, yeah, let's go on inside, man. I ain't trying to get sprayed with the skunk either, man.
Yeah, man. ECW was one of those shows that was very underrated. And the way that it came out, I thought Paul Heyman really put some money behind that show. And the way that it went out, it was just like, that was like, in my mind, that was kind of like WWF's baby. You know how you get a baby and you just mistreat it?
Yeah.
You know,
There you
so
go.
that's how I felt about ECW. I felt like it was one of those products that should have been taken care of very, very well, but it wasn't. But like I said, look who you have in the back room back there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
you know, ECW just it was one of those things here today, gone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Yes.
remember. Yeah, I remember going to a show, and I remember I was watching an old woman. I don't know. I say old, but she's probably like 50s or something. She
Right.
grabbed the chair and tried to hit Just Incredible, right, man? Security grabbed her. No. He turns around, spit right in her face. I was like, oh man. Everybody's like, ooh. I was like, wow. Man,
Yeah,
you can get old women like that, trying to hit you with a chair. Oh man, you're doing something right. Oh
right,
man.
right.
That's
But
right.
yeah, man, just ECW got mistreated, man, and I hate to see a show like that go away for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I said, it's one of those shows where you have a baby and you mistreat that baby, and I felt like that's where things came into it. It's the same thing with WCW.
Yeah.
WCW didn't last because of the people that were behind the scenes. The people that are behind the scenes are what makes wrestling what it is, what it actually is. And it goes back to the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to how you treat your product. If you mistreat your product is not going to perform well. And ECW had to be one of those shows just like WCW was. They both had great potential. It's just you got the people in the back room is like it just doesn't mix well.
Yeah.
And then you got these people like Jim Cornette, Vince Russo, and it's like, what are these motherfuckers sitting in the back room for?
That's right.
I ain't mean to curse, but
Oh,
I
you
ain't know if
good.
I can curse on the show, but you know what I'm saying? But
It's
you got
okay. You
these
could.
people, you got these people in the room, so it's like, what are these motherfuckers doing? So, it's stuff like that. It's the same thing with TNA. Lucky enough, TNA was able to rebrand itself with the whole Impact and bring new people in. And that was one of those things I was very happy to see when it came to the TNA product because I felt like it had to be a good product. But when you misuse your product, things like ECW, WCW, they just go away forever.
That's right. Now I do want to ask, man, before I pass it on back to Remy and all. Are you ready for WrestleMania? And do you like it being 2 days now instead of having like a 5 hour, 6 hour show with like 20 matches? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Instead, split it up.
yeah,
Little 3 hour show, 2 days.
yeah, it's split. I love the split now. It's more easier to watch
Mm-hmm.
compared to how we were watching it back then.
Mm-hmm.
It's more convenient because you can always go back and watch it if you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it where it's at right now.
Yeah, because I couldn't
But
imagine going there.
I just hate
Sitting
watching
there.
Raw on actual TV. I just hate the whole 3 hour show.
Mm-hmm.
But watching the pay-per-view, I think it's very convenient. It's very convenient, and I think I think the product has a lot of growing to do. Still has a lot of growing to do, and I think it's good for the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, man, I'm glad they did it because I can't imagine sitting there for like 5, 6, 7 hours, whatever, for wrestling. Because I went to
Nah.
a Raw. It was last year. I went to a Raw, or no, it was SmackDown, and I sat through the whole SmackDown. Then after SmackDown, they had 205 Live, and then after 205 Live, like the Fiend and them come out for the dark matches and stuff. Man, it was like, oh man, come on,
Yeah.
man. I'm like, I gotta go home, go to bed, man. Like,
I'm gonna be honest, man.
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest, man. I could watch I'll watch the pay-per-views before I watch the actual show
that's right.
because I'll sit there and watch Raw for the first hour. I'll be like, okay, this is what y'all doing. And then 2 or 3 hours later, I'm asleep.
That's right. That happens to me
So,
too, man.
So, but I think it's like I said, the WrestleMania. I think it's good for the culture, man. It's good in sitting there watching a 7 hour show
Yeah,
with it all being one packed in one show,
that's right.
and it's broken up into sections. So I think it's good for the consumers. It's good for the eyes as well. So
That's right.
you don't put it all in. You don't try to digest it all in one show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's right. So, man, I want to say, before I pass it back to Remy, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your day, coming on, chatting with us, man. It was awesome, chatting with you, man. We always love having, chatting with everyone, man. I hope, you get to go to shows soon with the COVID stuff, man. I hope all the positive things happen to you, your family, and all that good stuff, man.
I appreciate that, Big Rock.
No problem, man. You good, Remy?
They were losing.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I hear him coming back.
Okay. I was like, they be losing.
Yeah, it probably froze up over there, man.
Got the cricket, man.
That's right.
Got the cricket wireless, man. Tighten up, man.
That's man.
Nah, I'm just playing. But
that's
like
right.
I said, I appreciate y'all, man. For real.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's awesome.
Like I said, I can sit here and talk. I can sit here and politic all day about this shit. So, I do it, man. Like I said, I don't shy away from it at all.
Did you see the pay-per-view Sunday? What was it? Fastlane?
Unfortunately, I kind of put it on the back burner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was gonna see, man, I was gonna ask, what do you think of the Fiend's new look or whatever?
I did catch that though.
See, man, his mask, man, kind of looked like a burnt up Teddy Ruxpin. I know I'm dating myself with that, man, but if you look at a Teddy Ruxpin, you see it all burnt up, melted. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of what it looks like, man.
I was like, yo, I seen the picture and shit. I was like, yo, this dude Bray Wyatt a different type of guy, man. This dude
that's
is
right.
Not human, dog.
Yeah, I heard somebody was talking online that Bo Dallas is playing the burn up Fiend, while Bray Wyatt's in the background trying to play mind games with Randy Orton and stuff. I was like, you know what? I don't think they're doing that.
I was like, yo, this dude Orton cold, bro.
That's right. Yeah, Orton, man, I ain't never seen that. Somebody get burned alive and stuff, man.
It reminded me of how Undertaker used to get burnt back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But it had more of in today's time, it had a little bit more of a realization effect to how we were used to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has more like a realistic effect to it. And when the kids watch it, they go,
Yeah, plus they got a little bit of that time, because ain't no audiences there. They can just tape it, cut it up, do their thing.
Yeah, he back.
That's right.
But yeah, man. It's one of those things. But
yeah, my computer acts up sometimes. My webcam acts up sometimes. So. But yeah, I gotta say, Barack, really and truly, thank you.
No problem.
Really and truly do appreciate it.
No problem.
Rob with the dog.
Lucy.
Yeah, nice dog.
Yeah,
AKA
but
Lucifer. She's acting nice now.
Before we start the show, where can we find you on social
media? Instagram, BarackOHoliday. Twitter, BarackOHoliday. Topmixtapes.com, BarackOHoliday. You can go cop all my mixtapes.
Yeah.
My whole catalog is on there. Where else? Anchor.com, Global Boundaries Podcast. Y'all can go check that out. I'm everywhere, man. Like I said, Facebook, BarackOHoliday. The main 3 socials. I don't use Snapchat, so don't ask me. But shout out to the people that use Snapchat. It's just not for me. And I'm everywhere, man. Catch me in a city near you, man. Yeah, catch me in a city near you, Jack.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose audio?
I was about to say, did we lose him again?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, with that being said, it is now time for us to bid y'all adieu. Those of you that are listening to watching us.
Gotta get that Wi-Fi right, man.
Uh-oh. Oh man, we done lost him again. He done got kicked. Oh man.
But yeah, man. Just catch me, man. Man. As soon as this Corona stuff stop, man. Hopefully, I'll be able to move around.
That's right.
You
So when
know,
you doing the mixtapes, man, you dropping bars?
I'm a little bit on the production side,
Okay,
man.
okay,
I'm doing
nice.
a little bit of the production side. I got 2 projects out right now. They're doing wonderful numbers.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
So
I'm back, guys.
gotta get that checked out.
Yeah, man. I'm still trying to navigate. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get Fios over here, man, or Rose and whatever. I don't know. I'm using public Wi-Fi, so.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, hey, Barack, real talk though, man. Hey, thank you for actually being on our show. We really and truly do appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So we're about to close this show right now. It's about that time for us to bid all y'all adieu that are listening and watching us. So Rob, where are you on social media in case where can fans, promoters, bookers, wrestlers find you on social media if they want to, be on the show, shoot the breeze about wrestling, or purchase merchandise from us?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Rob_Base82, and I'm on Facebook, Rob Base.
Awesome. And if you want to find me on social media, not that I have anything interesting to say, you could find me on Twitter at TheRemyBlue. You can also find our podcast on Twitter at Ringside Society. You can also find our podcast on Instagram at Ringside Society. And you can also find us on Facebook. Yes, we have a Facebook group. Facebook groups are cool again. Not that they never were, but definitely join our group. We have a lot of cool things there. We're also on Teespring. Check out our Teespring. We have a lot of merch there. We have our first shirt. We have mugs. We have face masks. We have a St. Patrick's Day shirt. We have a Valentine's shirt. And we have more stuff coming. Just be on the lookout. We're probably gonna drop another one, a little risque one for all you adults. Later on this month,
some of that merch.
Yeah. So just y'all just be on the lookout for that. But yeah. So with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that listened to us live today. Thank you very much. We really truly do appreciate it. To those of you that are going to listen later on via our YouTube channel or our Facebook group, thank you in advance. And to those of you that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we would pack up stuff and go away, well, we're sorry you feel that way, but like a 90s Snickers commercial, we ain't going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we stop. But with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we here at Ringside Society are very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. We're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. Matter of fact, we're not any podcast. Hey, yo, Rob Base, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for our homie over here, BarackOHoliday, who has his mixtapes out. Tell the people, what's our podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
Yiddy.
Right, the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. So with that being said, make sure y'all tune in here again this Friday at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we'll be having another impressive guest. This guy goes by the name of Surza. He is out of California, good old Sacramento. So we'll be having him here. Not on the 15 Minutes of Fandom series. This is actually a series, but on our regular series, he'll be here. He's a wrestler, and he'll be actually telling us and sharing with us his stories of being in the ring and whatnot. But until then, be safe, be healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.
You did.